So the Canadiens started off with Juraj Slafkovsky as the number one pick, which wasn't a complete shock, but it was still surprising. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, good on Montreal, right? Because I think they went into the draft knowing that the New Jersey Devils were waiting at number 2, just hoping and praying that Slafkovsky would fall to them because they didn't want Shane Wright. They already have 2 centers down the middle. So where's Shane Wright going to slot in? Is he going to slot in over Nico Hischier? I don't think so. And he's definitely not slotting in over Jack Hughes. So it was either defenseman or winger for the Devils, and Montreal made that choice easy for them. And good on the Canadiens, man. Obviously it was not good PR not to draft the hometown kid. And as we would see when Shane Wright was eventually drafted, Shane Wright wasn't happy either with the infamous death stare towards the Canadiens draft table. So again, good on the Habs. They made the right choice. I think they did.
Yeah, and speaking of that death stare, that was the second highlight of the draft. First one being obviously the somewhat surprising pick.
Right.
But yeah, Shane Wright falls to Seattle at 4, gives phenomenal death stare towards the Canadiens, because I heard or saw on Twitter or an article wherever it was that apparently Wright said the Canadiens were going to pick him, and they told him that to his face. Then it didn't happen, and then we got an all-time great death stare.
I thought Shane Wright was going to the Canadiens as well. But just like the organization did, just like the player did, right? But it wasn't until Kent Hughes, the general manager, met with Juraj Slafkovsky the morning of the draft, and I'm like, okay, that's probably the telltale sign that something's up here at number 1.
Yeah, actually, I was watching the draft with my brother. He doesn't know anything about hockey, and as soon as I said "wow" to Slafkovsky being picked, he's just like, "What happened?" I'm like, "That guy was supposed to go number 1 overall, and he didn't." Fast forward like 20 minutes, he didn't go number 3, didn't go number 2 either. And I'm just like, well, this just got interesting.
I was a little surprised that Arizona passed up on Shane Wright, to be honest with you. I mean, I like Cooley, don't get me wrong. I think he's going to be a great player in this league, but Shane Wright was the quintessential number 1 overall pick for years in the making. And they decided to go off the board. I understand why the Devils went defense with Simone Nemec. And look, the Kraken got a really good player, really solid, always center fell into their lap at number 4. And Ron Francis should be thanking the skies above that happened, because in a few years, Shane Wright and Matty Beniers at 1-2 and your center depth is going to look amazing.
Yeah, and Seattle's also doing this the right way, just accumulating picks.
Here, how not to run an expansion team, the Vegas Golden Knights. How to run an expansion team, the Seattle Kraken. But we'll get into that.
Yeah, that is yet another thing we will circle back to. But another highlight of the draft, the Columbus Blue Jackets go from 0 first-round picks to 3 by the end of the night. Somehow, I'm looking at this back, and I saw, because I completely forgot about this, Chicago lost the first-round pick in the Seth Jones trade, and I'm just like, you guys are morons.
Yeah, that's look. I said it at the time that the Seth Jones contract was going to be one of the worst ones in the NHL, as even before it kicks in, and it hasn't kicked in yet. And I think if you ask the majority of hockey fans, Seth Jones' $9.5 million cap hit on a team that's trying to tank for Connor Bedard is definitely one of the worst.
Yeah, but hey, 3 first-round draft picks or 3 first-round draft picks.
Good on Jarmo Kekalainen. And you know what? The future held a pretty good decision as well after the draft. So.
Yeah, we have a lot of things to circle back
to. We do. I'm kind of previewing everything.
I love this
because the draft picks are circling back to free agency. It's cool.
Yeah, and then another guy. First off, let me just say this was a phenomenal NHL draft for names. Like this is like. I know people do video game rankings, like S tier, A tier, B tier, so and so. This was an S tier NHL names draft.
And we got Elias Petterson, right, getting drafted by Vancouver,
which was phenomenal.
Yep. Jack Hughes. I didn't think he got drafted by the Devils. He got drafted by where? Chicago, was it? I'm not entirely sure, but he went in the 3rd round. So 2 Jack Hugheses are going to be in the NHL pretty soon.
Yeah, and
it was Kent Hughes' son, the general manager of the Montreal Canadiens.
I can't find the pick right now, but
yeah, he's a 3rd rounder.
Yeah, I didn't. I'm just like scrolling through, but the first name or the S tier, like above all name,
He went to the Kings, by the way. Jack Hughes went to the Kings.
Right. Well, actually, you know what? There's two. There was Jonathan Lekaramaki and Ivan Miroshnichenko, which Miroshnichenko got drafted by the Capitals, and I'm just like, you know what? That just sounds right that he got drafted by the Capitals.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had the next highlight. We had the double trade. We have 2 trades to announce, and the crowd went, "Oh, we may have something here."
Yep.
Romanov gets traded to the New York Islanders in exchange for pick number 13. And what was it? Was it 1 pick or was it pick 13 and like 97 or something?
Yeah, I think it was a 3rd, 4th round pick as well.
But yeah, that happened. And then immediately after, 13th pick and 66 get traded to Montreal in exchange for Kirby Dach.
Mm-hmm.
Shit, did not see that one coming. But
yeah, that was pretty wild. And just to address the Islander trade first, I actually didn't hate it, because going back to the bubble, right? Alexander Romanov was one of the best defensemen coming out of the KHL. And, there was a lot of upside with him. And then they go obviously make the run to the Stanley Cup final. Then the next year, they're the worst team in the NHL. And of course, Romanov's numbers go down with the team's performance. But I think Lamoriello made a good pickup here. And as long as he can get him signed and as long as he can get him safely over to North America, I don't think it's a terrible trade. But man, oh man, giving up the number 13 overall pick, it's a ballsy move. That's a ballsy move by Lou Lamoriello. And I think that move at the draft started the unrest that Islander fans are starting to have with their general manager. So
yeah,
again, not a terrible move.
It's funny. I'm in a group chat with 2 Islanders fans, and at the time they're just like, damn it. Like that was literally the vibe they gave off. Like, damn it.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say there's a reason why Lamoriello hasn't won a cup in the Cap era.
Yeah. Absolutely right.
And then moving on to like the highlight of the entire draft, at least in my opinion, Maverick Lamerioux gets drafted by the Coyotes at 29. The camera cuts to his parents, and then there was some tongue
yes, action. There was.
Dude, like this would have been hilarious on its own, but what made it 10 times better was Kevin Weeks just going, "Hey, what are we doing?"
I guarantee Maverick will never forget his draft day, and neither will his parents. That video will live in infamy for the young
dude. The funniest part was like when they cut back to Lamerioux, somebody like standing on the stage with him was literally like pointing up. I don't know if they did that on purpose, but that was just like an extra sprinkle that made it better.
Yeah, that and Kevin Weeks' reaction, like you mentioned, he almost lost his shit on set, and I think everybody else was following suit. That was great.
Oh, that was phenomenal. Like that might be like the best draft moment I've ever witnessed.
That's certainly one of them. And real quick, just to address Kirby Dach to Montreal, I think that's another great move by Kent Hughes, because you know what? You lose Jesperi Kotkaniemi to an offer sheet, a center that you drafted number 3 overall. And you know what? You recoup that asset in a different player right back, right? Kirby Dach drafted the next year at number 3 overall behind Capo Caco. So, I really like the move. I think Montreal, they're going to be far from the worst team in the league next year. They really are.
Yeah, no. Well, I mean, look who is head of or executive vice president of hockey operations. Former Rangers GM Jeff Gorton.
Yep. No question they're having a good start to their rebuild. They're going to probably follow a similar model to the Rangers, right? Quick retool, get right back in. So good for them. Good for the Habs.
Yeah. We're going to circle back to Ottawa, but holy shit.
Yeah.